Okay, we're live, apparently, according to YouTube. That's cool. Sup, Shredders. My name is Logan, aka Spiderhands, and welcome to SP Paid Reviews number 12, the live stream where I review your music for just $5 on Ko-fi. The link is in the description. If you want to get a song requested there under 5 minutes, we can do that. I'm just opening up commissions now. And yeah, anything goes. It can be Spotify, it can be YouTube, it can be Bilibili. Anything you want, just as long as we can find it. Preferably you give me the link in the request for your video. But if we switch over to here and we go to chat time. I've opened this a little bit early so that people don't have to come in exactly at 12. They can just come in a couple of minutes early if they want to talk. Usually what I do at the start of these live streams is I have a look at the news. I have previously gone to Billboard, and Billboard gives me the shits a little bit. I kind of really don't care about a lot of the musicians that are here, and I know that sounds really kind of condescending and awful, but it's just, like I look at these titles and it's like Tove Lo Shears, Brat Summer Selfie with Charlie XCX, Lord and Nelly Furtado. I totally get that for a lot of these people, a lot of people who are fans of these musicians, this is huge stuff. Hailey Bieber shows off her baby bump and red mini dress while on a date with Justin Bieber. It's great that they're having a kid. That's cool. So they're having a kid. SCA Sa gushes over Scissor. Is it Scissor? Hello, how you doing? I do recognize your name, but I'm not sure of the translation of it. So we will have a look here. Who do we have here? It is Yip Xiong Lun. Welcome to the live stream. How are you doing? Hopefully you're having a good day today. I'm just having a look at the music news whilst I wait for stuff. I'm just gonna just make sure that everything is nicely sort of handled. It's looking semi-professional in the in the small screen, so that's good. Stray Kids, Fred again, Kehlani's ex alleged singer is in a cult. What? Kehlani's ex-partner Javon Young White has filed a petition to gain legal and physical custody of their 5-year-old daughter Adaya, claiming the singer is in what he describes as a cult. He also requesting child support. That's kind of wild. Hang on, not that one. We want this one to get big, don't we? This is drama. Basically, Billboard is like a whole lot of drama. In the court documents filed in Los Angeles in July 24 and obtained by Billboard, Young White claims everyone else has bigger say-so when it comes to upbringing of a child than I do. He says that because Adaya, who arrived in March 2019, was born in a home and not in a conventional setting like a hospital, Young White's name is not on the birth certificate as her father. Additionally, he claims he requested a copy of both the child's birth certificate and social security number, both to no avail. Oh, okay. Man, this... Oh. What cult is it? Okay, well then why say what cult it is? Why can't you talk about the cult that they're in? That would be very, very helpful. This name is the name of Jay Chow in his own movie. Oh, thank you. All right, because Jay Chow has been in several movies, haven't they? Yeah. It's interesting, how Jay Chow got into movies. Do you have a specific Jay Chow movie that you like? Chloe reveals release date for Sophomore. Sup, Jacob? How you doing? Welcome to the live stream. Hopefully you're doing well. Chloe reveals release date for Sophomore album Trouble in Paradise. Travis Kelce jokes about the Taylor Swift effect after leaving a fan speechless. And okay, so that's news. I'm not particularly enamored with the selection we've got today from Billboard, the news. Jay is actually a good comedic actor. Well, considering some of his music videos and stuff like that, I wouldn't necessarily be surprised by that. He does seem to have just a really good sense of humor and stuff like that, so that's kind of cool. Pitchfork, music news and releases. Oh no, we had Rolling Stone, right? I personally adore Secret. It became a cult classic in Korea in recent years. That's cool. So like, is Korea just getting to Jay Chow at this point? Because like, if they've got, if they've got like 15 albums of his to go through, right? Mind bending time travel plot. It's kind of wild, eh? Kind of wild. That's cool that he's writing stuff like that, though. You want musicians. I mean, musicians are so creative, right? So you'd want them to kind of be able to make really interesting movies as well. Chappelle Rowan's Midwest Princess Spotify streams doubled this summer. I think I want to talk more clearly, but whenever I try to do that, I then forget the next day that I'm supposed to be doing it clearly. And I go back to normal. Fred again, now I've already talked about that. MGK celebrates a year of sobriety. Oh, congratulations. Congratulations for getting sober. Congratulations to him for that. Oh no, I have to subscribe for this story. That's a shame. I wanted to read about him. How much is a subscription to the Rolling Stone? So it is $4. It's digital monthly. By the way, on the news, Kanye new album is proof he gave up and care for nothing anymore. It's the worst of the lot. Yeah, I don't know what Kanye is up to, man. If we go to Spotify and we try and go Kanye West, is his album on here? Latest album. Yeah, it's been a few days. There are not a lot of plays on these tracks for Kanye West, for Ye. Who is that one? Who is this? Who is Yen Dollar? It's really is an example of someone just going through the deepest, darkest stuff, isn't it? It's sad because Kanye, when he first started making music, was picked out because like people were jealous of how talented he was. They were worried that he was going to take over. He was a good team player back in the day, and he collabed with a lot of people. But they were Ye and Ty Dolla Sign. Thank you, I appreciate that. So it's Ye Ty. So who is Ty Dolla Sign? Is Ty Dolla Sign quite big? Maybe they have a review of the album on Billboard. Ye new album review. Vultures 2 album review. Okay, so that was thoughts. That's good. Good on him for putting thoughts forward. I want like an actual legitimate review though. I don't think it is. I can't see like an actual proper review for him. Is it on Genius? No. I can't find it. You'd think that it would be on Rolling Stone or something like that, right? He's still talented. He's just really broken after Kim left, which is most of his own fault, of course, but with the kids being put through such a public fallout. Yeah, I think that mental health, it cripples most people, if not anyone it touches, like when you have issues with that. I hope he gets help if he's not already, and hopefully that is the help where it will help improve his life in a way which is also really positive for the people around him, because he's been going in this sort of direction for a little while now, and it's a shame that he's not finding success with considering how talented, you know, he is. I mean, like, there's like a positive review here if you write it here. I can't make this bigger. Some people are super duper stoked with it. Some people are really, really stoked with it. Like this guy, Discord account gave it a 3 and gave it a 9.5 on some tracks. I have no words for this mid-song. North needs to go back to when she was spitting on talking. She also spoke Japanese for a reason. No reason. Mid-song. Overall review, low 7. See, that's fine. It's cool if you want to rate most tracks a 9 and then give it a 7. That makes sense. What did the Needle Drop think of the album?
Wealthy Dan Tana.
Hang on. Gotta make it small though. What did he think of it?
Here, the internet's busy. That's enough.
Oh, okay.
What score would I have to give it for you to not play another song from it ever again?
You know, probably like about like a 10. Yeah.
Could I meet you part way and give it a 2?
He's biased. Just biased.
2. Forever.
Okay, that was a 2. So the Needle Drop gave it a 2. And when you like think of like the entirety of music as the whole, all the millions and billions of tracks that have been released, 2's still pretty hideously crippling for a rating. But yeah. Okay. That's how it is though. That's the dealio. So that was like we can probably have a listen to some of it. Should we have a listen to some of it? We're gonna do the 30-second test. We listen through this album. We're gonna listen through 30 seconds. We're gonna listen through 10 seconds of it. 10 seconds of each, and I'm gonna figure out if I like it. Needle Drop refused to review the album. He didn't like it, but given how recent anti-Semitism Kanye has shown, he just really disliked the album and the person. I mean, let's give it the 10-second test. So this is Slide. I hate it. That's mean. But I don't think it made... Like, the 10-second test is what a lot of studio labels use. They try to sort of like go, okay, the person needs to be sucked in within the first 10 seconds of hearing a track in order to want to continue, right? It's why a lot of music will kind of nowadays... a lot of music will get into the main vocal part before 10 seconds are up. That's, I think, with a lot of modern pop music. Feel free to test that out. But yeah. Let's put my phone away before it vibrates again. What's track number 2? Time Moving Slow. I mean, that's nice. I mean, that's a bit nicer than like the kind of slow kind of movie soundtrack. You are the only thing that felt like time moving slow. It doesn't really sound like the Kanye that I'm used to, eh? I like his older stuff. Field Trip.
This ain't cheddar, this quiche.
I mean, like, the production sounds quite fresh, but like in a way where like they're deliberately trying to articulate and kind of bring upon a lot of the more modern sort of late 2010s hip-hop aesthetic there. The kind of traps that are like kind of almost some of the lo-fi except it's hi-fi. This is Fried, by the way. I just like, wasn't that kind of what we were doing with Time Moving Slow? So like these two, Fried and Time Moving Slow, sound quite similar, right? Like if I'm generous.
then it's that. Bitch, don't play with me, you know I'm. Boy, don't play with me, you know I'm bad. Ooh, swerving in the lamb off the lot. 5% to 10 when on top. They love me in my city like I'm pop. Remember when we used to.
It's like someone took the blueprint for like a hip hop album again in the late 2010s, and it's like maybe 1% better than a lot of like how do I say this? There are musicians I work with reviews, and there are a lot of independent rappers that I enjoy their music more than this. That their stuff seems a lot more original than this. I think there's a lot of if this is this Ty Dolla $ign's sound, so to speak? Because if it is, that's cool. If that's what they vibe with, it's fine. It's just kind of, I don't know, man. Isabella? Yeah, but basically, I prefer a lot of independent musicians' music over this there. I feel like a lot of the intros are better than the stuff I've heard in this album. And it kind of sounds like they're trying to sort of rap for the first time, or they're not really sure how to be themselves beyond trying to make things sort of like, it's like they're trying to make things weird to be a bit different, but then they're still trying to find their niche within this. And it's a weird way to. Sup, RC? How you doing? Welcome to our review live stream where we're kind of just checking out Vultures 2 real quick whilst we're waiting. If there's, remember, of course, that if you want to submit a track, you can do it. but we're also, again, it's also about hanging out and because listening to music. So this is. Yeah, if anything, this is proof that I'm not just here to get paid to listen to music. We're listening to this album right now. Yeah. To be fair, it's morbid curiosity as well.
You better buy me those fucking shoes.
So, like, that was Isabella, and the woman wanted shoes, and the woman say no, and that was Isabella.
She said she leaving her boyfriend. She wanna meet me at a Ritz-Carlton.
She looking pretty, she looking gorgeous. We making love, but we heartless. She
No, I don't like it. I mean, like, it's palatable. But, like, the thing is also that I wouldn't know that this was you from listening to it. A lot of these open, I think, with what might be Ty Dolla $ign, and the problem with that is that I therefore lose the identity of Kanye West within it.
Neighbors know this shit get out of hand, but they smile, cause you've been so long without a man.
I'm getting a call. I don't know who this is. I'll be right back. I'm not a I like cake. possible. No, it's okay. I work kind of parts. Because it's like a concept. But I'll tell you what, I'll get back to you by the end of the Sorry guys. Sorry about that. Okay, so basically just real quick, my schedule at the moment is I do music tuition probably like 25 30 hours a week. I also have Fiverr reviews, my SP reviews, but I also, I have Patreon and I have YouTube. And then I've also got studio work that I do as well. So things are quite, like, in a good way. I enjoy the fact that they're busy, but they're quite busy. So I apologize for having to leave there for a bit. I don't know what we were up to. I feel like this is enough of Kanye's album to kind of get a feel of where they're going for it. I noticed there are a couple of requests in the queue though, so I'm happy to check those out. But yeah, I don't know if I really enjoyed what was going on with Kanye's music in this one, or T.Y. Dollar Signs. I think there's an audience for it, and I understand that a lot of the stuff that's going on here is kind of fashionable at the moment, especially like a lot of the younger kids who are kind of getting into hip-hop and the newer stuff in the late 2010s and stuff. But yeah. Thank you to RC. I believe if I just check out the commissions at the moment, what do? We have requests from Jacob, Good, and RC. Thank you. Yeah, the new album is Vultures 2. It was released a few days ago. It's been delayed a few times, I think, but yeah, it's out now. So we're gonna get started on these requests from Jacob Good. What do we have? So this is cool. So it's Jesus Walks. So Jacob Good. I'm just gonna go Jacob here. Thanks for your request. There we go. And this is, as I said several times now, Jacob, Jesus Walks. And we're going to listen to this in a moment. And hopefully it doesn't get blocked on YouTube. Now, I should note as well, for anyone watching this, as per my Patreon post, I am going to be finally getting a studio license for DaVinci Resolve next week. What that will mean is, hopefully, if I get this license, DaVinci Resolve, Studio Resolve, it actually has the capacity to be able to, how do I do this? It allows you to be able to get, like, it analyzes the microphone, my mic audio, and finds the words for it. It transcribes captions. So if the live stream gets blocked in future, as of next week, I will be able to upload the live stream in full to Patreon with subtitles. I know some of you guys need subtitles. We're finally getting it sorted, okay? So we're coming on up, boys and girls. Coming on up. But yeah, let's get into it. What do we got? Boom. And we just go through his ad. So this is from Jacob Good. Thank you for the request. This is Kanye West, Jesus Walks, live at 47th Grammy Awards. And no ads on the audio, which is exactly the way I like it for that one.
We're at war. We're at war with terrorism, racism, but
but most of all, we're at war with ourselves.
God, show
Fantastic.
me the way, 'cause the devil's trying to break me down.
The charisma, man.
You know what the Midwest is, young, you're restless or restless. Might snatch your necklace, and next these might jack your Lexus. Somebody tell these who Kanye West is. I walk through the valley of the shadow where death is. Top floor, if you alone, I leave you breathless. Try to catch it, it's kind of hard getting choked by detectives. Yeah, and I checked them at it.
It's awesome, dude.
Questions, harass and arrest us. Saying we eat pizzas like you for breakfast, huh? Now leave pieces. What's the basis? We ain't going nowhere but get suits and cases. A trunk full of coke, rental car from Avis. My mama used to say, only Jesus could say, well, mama, I know I act the fool, but I'll be gone to November. I got packs to move. God, show me
And just the unison of the backing singers and the choir in the background just vibing to it with him.
the only thing that I pray is that my feet don't fail me now. And I don't think there's nothing I can do now to break my wall with me. I wanna talk to God, but I'm afraid 'cause we ain't talking so long. God, show me the way. The devil's trying to break me down. The only thing that I pray is that my feet don't fail me now.
Very distinctive voice for that lady as well. There, that raspiness there was kind of it was kind of interesting.
Pilgrim journey. Oh, yes. I want Jesus. Oh, yes, I do. Oh, with me.
And the switch up, dude. So much range to the composition.
Some glad morning when this life is over. I'll fly away to a home on God's celestial shore. Oh, I'll fly away. Oh, I'll fly away. Oh, glory. I'll fly away in the morning when I die. Hallelujah, by and by. I'll fly away. 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 Early in the morning. I'll fly away. I'll fly away. I'll fly away. I'll fly away. Yeah.
Phenomenal vibrato there.
You act like I seen a ghost or something. Killers, murderers, drug dealers, even the strippers. To the victims of welfare, for we living in hell here. Hell yeah. Now hear he wanna see thee more clearly. I know he hear me when my feet get weary. Cause we're the almost nearly extinct. We rappers as role models, we rap, we don't think. I ain't here to argue about his facial features or here to convert atheists into believers. I'm just trying to say the way school need teachers, the way Catholic needed Regis. That's the way I need Jesus. So here go my single dog, radio needs us. They say you can rap about anything except for Jesus. That means gun, sex, lies, videotape. But if I talk about God, my record won't get played. Huh? Well, if this take away from my spins, which will probably take away from my ends, then I hope it take away from my sins and bring the day that I'm dreaming about. Next time I'm in the club, everybody screaming out. God, show me the way, cause the devil's trying to break me down. The only thing that I pray is that my feet don't fail me now.
As an angel come down from the earth. Come down to the earth, I suppose. Or rose up, I suppose. I think that was a fantastic performance. Thank you to Jacob for putting that forward. Let's talk about this, the Kanye West Jesus Walks part. So I think that it was potentially discussing like the trials and tribulations that the Kanye or like Jesus went through. I'm feeling a little bit shaky about this, so forgive me if I'm incorrect about this. It's basically about the situation where like you go through his trials and tribulations, and we as a human beings, we are not going to be saved, and no one, only Jesus can save us because we are not going to get through this. And it's the situation like the industry, like himself as a rapper and everything like that, the people around him. And then you have like that sort of like that funeral procession in the middle there where they're kind of like talking about the grace of God and so on rising up from the earth. And then the last part is maybe Kanye having an epiphany about the situation, looking at everything around them and kind of getting the crowd behind him again. I think it's an interesting three-parter. It's really incredibly well structured. But before I get into the structure, Kanye West rapped really well, handled it really well, and nailed it. I think that his flow was phenomenal. Great variety of different sort of rhythms in there. The words came through clearly. There was a kind of like the struggling to breathe, the vocal effects as well there. The actual acting there was phenomenal. It was very engaging. The backing vocalists and doing the choir parts, as well as the Jesus walks, those parts as well there were anthemic and just had a lot of grace and weight to it at the same time. Heavy messaging, but really carefully and wonderfully put forward by the musicians involved. Yeah, exactly. As Jacob said, the autotune as well was incredible at the end there to kind of sort of not only maybe potentially hark to the era where he was doing that, but also to sort of like demonstrate, hey, like I can mix this all in and make this sort of like wonderful. So I can bring this sort of more sort of like a religious sort of like stuff that I maybe won't get played for into the modern era and sort of put it forward and like make it enjoyable to listen to. So I think it's fantastic there. The bomb, the bass line is just awesome, like the flow of it, the way it's just very kind of bombastic, and the sort of the snare drums there kind of marching as if we're going into battle somehow, or as if the world is a battlefield. And a lot of the other elements from this come from either the kind of a cappella kind of like choir parts there with a really sensational vocal performance again from the singers and that sort of funeral procession part there. Wonderful sort of chemistry between them. I think it's also worth noting that I like how Kanye was not there on the focal point the entire time. He could have stepped back a little bit and allowed the singers at the funeral procession to have their time in the sun. It was great to sort of trade off like that. Very, very self-aware, aware of what the track needed. The studio production live performance was incredible. And ultimately, yeah, there was stuff I didn't talk about, but ultimately I think that I've kind of covered a lot of it. It's great to see Kanye in their prime, arguably. But now he's really just mentally not that. Yeah, a fallen angel. But that was Jacob's pick, so thank you, Jacob, for that. Had a good time with it. We can tick that off. What have we got next? We have got a track from RC to do. Thank you. And this is from RC here. Going to add that. Yeah, I think it's the bass line with the vocals as well, which is kind of dope on this one. You didn't need more instruments rather than just sort of the percussive qualities. It really does make it sort of more human and grounded because of that. I've got a lot of positive stuff to say about this song. I think it was well handled. And RC was Father Time Stradivarius. I've really got to get into a habit. So we go copy there. We go there. And then we go there. Like that. That means that I get confused. And we have got YouTube again. Here we are. Awesome. Let's do it. So this is RC's pick. Thanks to RC. This is Stradivarius with Father Time. Great use of panning with those TikTok clicky bits. And a very different vibe, of course. And the speed of it. Did you hear that really sort of subtle bass drop there? Or that sub drop? It was cool, man. Great entrance. Great tone to the production as well. Really well mixed. There's just so much of this track already. We're spoiled with the different instrumental lines. Have we got keys in there as well for the pads? Or is it just vocal harmonies? It is. There are pads. Ah, great use of halftime. No? And that was RC's pick for today, their request for Stratovarius titled Father Time. I've got the lyrics down here. I didn't get the lyrics through clearly in this one for a lot of it, and I'm just taking a quick look here because I know it's in English. I understand I'll take time for what I need. I can't store inside. Okay, I get it. So, like, let's talk about this track from an act named Stratovarius titled Father Time. I think that this track, having a quick look at the lyrics, is about someone who is looking back at their life and sort of wondering where all the time is gone. They're looking back at where their friends are. They're sort of comparing themselves to where they are, trying to figure out if the time they spent doing stuff is worthwhile. And I think that the overall messaging they get at the end is that they're on this journey, as per with a lot of power metal, to be fair. They're on this journey and they're wanting to work their way towards a brighter future or their dream or something, and they understand they're just going to just take the time they need to get there, and it's all about continuing to have momentum and to keep moving forward and to kind of have those hopes of achieving those dreams there. I think the singer did a wonderful job of encapsulating that kind of hope and that that desire for to get that goal, to accomplish it. There was so much, like the soaring melodies on top of the choruses there, especially with the backing vocals on the side being all nice and warm in the mid range. Kind of made you feel like you were kind of wrapped up in a cozy blanket whilst listening to someone, letting you know that, like even though we're going through a bit of struggle and stuff like that and wondering if everything's worthwhile, that we're going to continue to keep at it and succeed one day. And you kind of believe it listening to them. They've got phenomenal vocal technique there. Even if I didn't necessarily get all the words clearly, I still appreciated being able to hear it. And I loved the charisma, the power behind it there. Also, the fact that the singer didn't sing all the time. They allowed plenty of space for the guitar and drum parts and all the other kind of fancy instrumental parts to have their own time in the sun. But ultimately, very satisfying piece. So thank you. Yeah, I enjoyed that. I haven't really listened to a lot of Stratovarius, if I'm honest. I don't think so, but I'm happy to listen to more in future if we get the opportunity. The track itself, 5 minutes 08. To be fair, I listened to 5 minutes of it, so it's just within that 5 minute sweet spot. I think that the way we played was incredible. Phenomenal chemistry between the guitar, bass, drums, and the occasional keys, the synth pads, and some of the more uplifting chorusy parts, as well as a bit more kind of active in the later stages. Like this piece there, it started. What did it start with? Oh no, back. Thank you. It started with that guitar with that rhythm riff on the side there with the alternate picking the palm mutes and working with some power chords and sort of fourth intervals, working into like the double kicks, the freneticism of that. We had the instrumental motif and then the verse, the vocals came in with the verses and choruses. We had like a solo section on the guitars there whilst we kind of slowed down in parts there. But actually, no, we didn't slow down that option, to be fair. Ultimately, it was a track where it was constant movement pushing us forward there in a way that was very satisfying. The drum parts there with a wonderful finesse across against those 16-note parts with the snare and cymbal patterns down there. Lots of really interesting sort of fills on the toms as well there. Wonderful transitions there. Experimenting with normal halftime near the end. Great sort of flow and awareness of what the track needed. The bass line typically articulating the lower parts of the harmonies there and the root notes that were presented by the power chordal parts there, very sort of supportive in that front. The guitarists, whether they were going through some sort of slower strummed kind of like, or sort of like the whole note held chord parts in the chorus sections to allow the vocals to have a bit more space to breathe. Working towards, again, an eventual solo section where it's incredibly articulate and intricate. There we had a lot of finesse on display there, lots of quick notes there, legato technique and fast picking stuff, but in a way we're up and down, ascended, descended there, very sort of palatable, and it was really really awesome to listen to. The guitar playing was great, and then the keys kind of again presenting that sort of similar to the backing vocals, a nice sort of patachour in the mid to high ranges there to kind of make things fluffy and sort of like mystical and fantasy sounding there. The theme overall, a bit darker in some of those rhythm riffs there, but in the choruses it was more major-ish there to kind of let you know that things will improve and you'll get to your dream. I think the music communicated that as well as the vocals and the lyrics, so in the end it was incredibly effective. The type of songs to just play in the background while playing some video games, absolutely back to the 90s. This was 90s power metal as I understand it, and it was awesome. And then you've just got the studio recording, mixing and mastering, which is absolutely just nailed it, smashed it. Everything was handled there well, commercial, great. Thank you to RC for this request of this track from an act named Stratovarius titled Father Time. That track is reviewed now. It was awesome. What track do we have next? We have Rufo next. What has Rufo got for us today? Thanks for your request. And then we've got Rufo. I think we've got one in the queue after this. And that is totally fine. There we go. Rufo. On Spotify. Cool. We're going to find that on Spotify then. Let's do it. Real long. So up Spotify here. Here we are from Khalil Fong. I assume that's probably it. Yeah? Thank you to Rufo for your request. 我的一片地藏在黑洞里，仿佛都是超乎意料的好东西。怎样叫你相信？ Ooh, unusual bass line there. 也发现是你的生命，也许太多猜疑，也许不够好奇，也许是你的世界才真实。闭上
上眼睛，我好想带你到我的星星，看我看的风景，树上长爱情，河水洗回忆，什么都可以，只要你愿意。屏住呼吸，我好想带你离开这里。你不用飞机，只要放肆，万里以外更美丽。
It's just how the strings go up on the sides. There's a wonderful dynamic range to it. Lots of space within this arrangement. Hi, Paul. How are you today? You taking care of yourself? Having a good day so far?
我越想靠近，你越想逃避。难道外星人是可怕的大骗子？那是织女星，那是牵牛星，只怪地球人有无聊的老传奇。怎样叫你相信？怎样叫你想跨过陌生的距离？也许太多猜疑，也许不够好奇。
Is it? It might be song, baby making song. I'm not sure.
闭上眼睛，我好想带你到我的星星，看我看的风景，树上长爱情，河水洗回忆，什么都可以，只要你愿意。屏住呼吸，我好想带你离开这里。你不用飞机，只要放肆，万里以外更加爱你。
Oh, that back.
放开你双手
That caught me by surprise.
抛弃你背后的历史，因为在我住的黑洞里，从来没有引力，从来不懂什么脚踏实地。
Whoa, that glissando though.
带你到我的星星，看我看的风景，树上长爱情，河水洗回忆，什么都可以，只要你愿意。我好想带你离开这里，我没有真理，只能答应，万里以外更美丽。
Yeah, Cleo Fong and chill, absolutely. Now that was wonderful. I had a great time with that. Thank you to Rufo for putting this track through. Now I'm just going to quickly check what the title of the song is. A check on Deep Owl and then we'll have a chat about it. So what is this track called? This track called? Oh, it's called Black Hole. Black Hole. All right. So apparently my understanding of the translation of this track, it's from an actor named Khalil Fong titled Black Hole. Khalil Fong will release his new album in October this year. Looking forward to it. Well, I hope it's a great album. Then again, knowing Khalil Fong, I'm sure he'll nail it. Most of the stuff I've listened to from him has been incredible. So I'm not sure what this track is about, aside from maybe talking about like a black hole within himself. Maybe the emotions pour into it. I'm not sure. It could be also figurative, but I'm just unsure. So I focus on the vocal performance, and I think it's absolutely stellar. The guy clearly is a singer. Like, he has incredible vocal technique, very comfortable, not only in his head and chest voice, but also the falsetto, the vibrato there, wonderful legato passages there, intricate understanding, like an immense understanding of how to sort of harmonize in the center and the sides as well. The R&B sort of flavor totally smashed it. Yeah. So it's baby making song. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think you might. I think you might be onto something. I think that. Yeah, so clearly he's a tremendous vocalist, and there was a lot of range here. We didn't just do the same thing the entire time. We kind of continued to sort of push things further and further as we developed there, which makes sense. You know, it's nice to kind of add more as you go along to keep things sounding fresh. The track itself, though, it's to be fair, the rest of the arrangement at 3:33, you know, you got verses and choruses from what I can only understand. I remember specific words being repeated. It's not through composed. I know I got to change the camera battery in a moment. But I think that this song does a lot of things well. For one, what it manages to handle incredibly well is it handles the fact that it has all these different instruments. Like there are drums and bass and some guitar parts and synths and keys and pads and all these different ingredients. Like if we compare the starting point, there's drums, there's guitars, there's like a kind of a Moogish kind of portamento synth there. We go to the end. There's a resonant bass line there, extra string sections and stuff like that, and we have string flurries there. And I think that the way to treat a track like this is to understand that each instrument has a specific purpose without sort of overcompensating or over sort of like decorating it. I think if I talk about a few of the parts I liked, I thought the drum parts were incredible with the sort of really subtle kind of 8th note accents with the 16th notes with the rim shots and stuff like that being that subtle choice to not sort of, I think snares would have been a bit too brash. I think that the guitar parts, there was some interesting hammer-on pull-offy bits there, arpeggiating with fingerstyle there. Again, just trying to sort of formulate some extensions and the harmonies there, not trying to overcomplicate it there. The bass line nice and strong when it came in there, working well with the extensions and the quite complicated overall harmony there, and the different sort of chromatic and maybe some even parallel movements there with the progressions. The keys there, mid to higher range there, whether they were actual keys or like the synths or whatever, they were around the stereo field and they moved around and they sort of swum in the headphones, and they're a lovely bit of color in the mid to high range to kind of accent sort of mid and upper ranges of those triads. And they kind of call and responded with the vocals sometimes. There were sometimes a little bit sort of like leadish as an alternate to Khalil Fong's parts there before we started getting into the side vocal kind of backing bits as well. And then ultimately, there's more than that. There are strings as well, wonderful flurries, up quicker ascending and just descending parts, but ultimately they're trying to sort of add a sense of romanticism to this piece. And like all these different elements together were lovingly niched in the frequency spectrum of stereo field. And I don't know how he does it. I don't know how he manages to put all that together, but he does. And so you're left with a track where it's almost like nostalgic, where it's just like romantic, this old kind of romanticism of it. It kind of reminds me a lot of music from like the mid 20th century, the kind of jazzy acoustic sort of like R&B-ish parts. Like there's parts of different decades of music sort of intermingled within this or amalgamated together, and it works. It's incredibly fragrant. It's a great song there. It sounds like he's kind of calmly working stuff out there in a loving way, and it's dope. It's baby making music whilst also being, also being quite sophisticated. I adore that. It's not to say that making music isn't sophisticated, but a lot of R&B is, to be fair. The studio recording, mixing, mastering's tight. Sang really well. Song was written really well. Lots of different fun parts put together effectively. And it all came together. Great chemistry. Well done to Khalil Fong with Black Hole, and thank you to Rufo for your request. I'm quickly going to change the camera battery because it's running out. Because I made the mistake of trying to do a review before I did this live stream. And so now it's a lot shorter than usual. Hopefully this one should last the time. I don't know if it will. We will see. But I am back now. I don't know if that is still balanced. It looks to be balanced. I don't know. I'm a bit concerned about it. If I get rid of the logo, is that still on that side? You gotta adjust. I know we do this every time. It's because I'm paranoid about it, having the green screen not be fully in the shot or something like that, But yeah, that was cool. So we're on to track number 4 now, I suppose. It always impresses me what Khalil Fong is able to accomplish, man. He's a wonderful musician. So yeah, thank you to Rufo. We've got Paul7931 now. His vibe is always on point. Yeah, I have to agree with that. I want more raunchy stuff from Khalil Fong, but I also understand that's not his vibe. Not raunchy as in like vocally or like, like lyrically, but I want more edge to some of his stuff. And maybe we've had that in previous positions, but like I guess I'm just greedy. I feel like that's the only thing I'd want is some like harder kind of stuff, but that's because I'm desensitized. I appreciate his kind of soft and more sort of chill stuff as well. And I know everyone doesn't need to make sort of hard stuff, especially because I want it. But thank you to Paul7931 for this track, this request. We're going to get into it now. We're going to open up Spotify, and yeah, let's do it. Let's go. Now I want to stop for a minute. This track is from an act named Bark of Dante. Now I have finished my patrons review for Paul, and one of the songs is going to be on this album, but I read that as Barge. So my one bit of feedback to the band, if I make myself small, right? Because now I just realized I was big, so I would have needed to do this again anyways. I didn't know that was a cue. So if you see a little edit at the start of the Patreon video coming out tonight, where I say it's barge, is that bark instead of barge, just I apologize for that. It's just hard to tell. But anyways, the reason from Bark of Dante, if I'm not mistaken. Let's go. Oh, great ride patterns there, man. Yeah, back to middle, man. Good times. Excellent falsetto harmonies there. Well done. I think her voice suits the mix. Oh, and that bass tone in the background, dude, that's fresh. Okay, so that was The Reason from an axe named Bark of Dante. Thank you to Paul7931 for their request. What I think this track is about, I got some of the words through, not all of them. I kind of... I'm not getting all the words clearly, and I'm wondering if it's like the accent or something like that, but either way, I think it's about... The song is about showing me the reason maybe to continue, the reason for it to be, etc. I don't want to sort of like generalize too much, but I'd probably need an additional listen in my own time to really get that down, or specifically maybe to like focus solely on the lyrics in order to get it. But I mean, outside of that, I think the story was fantastic, and the lady could sing. I think it was Ines Vera, if I'm not mistaken. I'll remove myself. The singer there is Ines Vera, the lyricist. I thought they sang well. That's all the vocal technique there. I liked the fact that the mains went between the sides there. We split the vocals there and we went backwards and forwards, and that was kind of compelling there. We could clearly harmonize really neatly. Lovely vibrato there. And I think that we sung in a way which suited the music as well. So there was a clear self-awareness of the expression that was required there. So that was effective. I think that the track itself at 4 minutes away was really well structured there. There was a lot to enjoy within it there. Some almost like synth orchestral elements there, but predominantly it was guitar, bass, and drums. I think if I speak about a few of my favorite parts of the guitar, I like the fact they were kind of a bit slower and kind of more kind of like we were nimble with our rhythm riffs and the sort of power chord bits and stuff like that. We had a sense of pace and groove to it, but there was also a lot of sort of like drama and weight behind those chords. It was a minor focus track there. We did later on get a lot quicker with some of those lead patterns there, where it was incredibly sort of like intricate with the various sort of solo parts there. Great sort of movement across legato patterns and such. But I mean, aside from that, ultimately it was a track where it had a similar sort of feel throughout, if I'm not mistaken. And if I go here. We had a key change at the end, to be fair, though, so we switched things up at the end for that harmony. And I think that the riffs that we had, as well as the solo parts on the guitar, were fantastic there. It's that kind of like sort of like I don't know what kind of specific subgenre metal is. It's definitely metal, but it synced well with the drum parts. The drums were wonderful. They could really play, you know. Great sort of like control of the kick snares and different sort of cymbal patterns as well. We had a lot of different grooves there working with eighths. And I think it might have been 6/8 or something like that. So it was a slightly different sort of time signature to normal as well. So we handled that really well. Wonderful sort of 30-second note fills there. Very quick with some of those rolls there and some movements across it. And we were in time. We were in time. We were really tight with the guitar parts. The bass line as well, nice and so solid and loyal to the root notes within the arrangement. The strings, the synths are bah, like keys, like they're kind of wham wham, that kind of wham wham, that kind of sound there, where it was more of like a specific like a dramatic sound to kind of accent or hyperbolize certain moments there for effect. And I think ultimately it kind of matched the kind of the need, the urgency for that reason to do what they needed to do from the singer there. So I think that was effective. Ultimately these elements came together in a track where there seemed to be a lot of turbulence. And we never really seemed to find that resolution there. Maybe we did in that key change there, or things were getting sort of more intense and we needed to sort of highlight that it was getting worse. I'm not quite sure. But either way, I think ultimately it was quite effective. It was an interesting composition there. It sounded great, performed really well without a note out of place. And the studio recording, mixing, and mastering was commercial grade. It was tight, vocals well done or handled. Again, I would have liked to have slightly understood the lyrics a bit more clearly, but I think that might just be like, again, like an accent thing or something like that. And either way, it was fantastic. It was a good effort. So, yep, commercial grade, well done, nice and loud, 6 sounding guitars and everything like that. Thank you to Paul7931 for the request. And I will try and get that video done for you today, as it has been recorded with Bark of Dante, if I'm not mistaken, off of the Columbus album titled The Reason. But that track is done. Thank you very much. What is the next track that we have? Do we have another one to do? We have another track. We have from Dinahay. Thank you to Dinahay for your request. I'm going to get rid of that. Thanks for your request. And that is Dinahay. And that there is... That last stream is still good. That's cool. And what do we have this time? We don't have Khalil Fong, because we've already done that one. And we've done Bark of Dante. This is Lovesick. Hey, we got Lovesick again. Well, not again. I know there's several parts to it, right? This is Lovesick Part 2 from Nujabes, if I'm not mistaken. And people seem to vibe with that, which was kind of cool. Hang on. Yeah, so we're going to just get that and go Nujabes. Let's do it. And then we'll go open Spotify. We'll go through the link and be good lads about it. Here we are. Let's do it. And then lyrics. And let's go. Let's do it. Thank you, Dinahe, for your request. Lovesick Part 2.
Here we go. Part 2. Check me out. Once again, now where do I start?
Actually, hang on. I should probably do Sup Shredders. And it's as the first hour has passed. Once the live stream queue goes to 0, the session shall end. Thanks for the requests so far. Here we go. Just putting that in.
Dear loved, I'm struck with the prologue.
Go.
Find you here every morning. I awake from a cavernous night. Sometimes still pondering the previous plight. Seems life done changed, long time no speak. Nowadays I often forget the day of the week. Taking it by stride, if you know what I mean. No harm done, no offense taken by me. So let's rap, we'll catch up to Paul. What's the half? Perhaps we even closer. Now after all things considered on the side of the planet, couldn't pick a better time, even if we planned it to come clean and candid. If I have to, I wouldn't trade for your laughter. Sweet and sour might see my poetry pop melting, even better than the real thing. It's like the God in me, saw the devil in you. I wanted to break myself in the worst way when I met you. Who would have thought conversate by the river, celebrate birds, sit and deliver the lines that are proved to be the seeds of trust. Unsigned, yeah, but destined to grow sunshine. Self-assigned task piled on the desk of good words. Knowing hardship, appreciate the best of both worlds.
It's got like a similar like vibe to previous tracks we've heard from Nujabes, but this is this wonderful sort of beautiful glow from the brass and some of the sort of like synth elements there with a similar sounding drum beat, but he's just managing to sort of like get a different angle with these sort of top elements.
At the same LOVE, evidently see every song has a sequel. Never same everything but the name. All fresh, just like back then, how we do everything. Still love me, as they say, LOVE, eloquently see every dream has a part two. Never say you got to keep it tight, always just like back then. Hear me out. Once together now, where do we go, dear divine? I pray that you keep watching over us from the heavens where light is the nucleus to the space filled with darkness and negative matter. Anti-gravity pull is what I'd rather feel when I leave this shell eventually. Ties to the mother earth ground me mentally. Real vibes keep me alive spiritually. Imagination brings bliss at no cost. When I blink, I receive at no loss. Victory comes in small packages like a leaf off an olive tree. Brought back by a dove from above, then I'm gonna rhyme love. We saw that we're coming ever since the beginning of the end. Well, anyways, I'm not a perfect being. Yes, I am a man full of S-I-N. It's like the devil in me saw the God in you. You epitomize the etymology of enthusiasm. Look it up there, lies the clouds that form the rain that came from the ocean that flow from the river. I'm a believer, firm with the first words, lyrical transceiver of our ancient roots. Science plus odds multiplied by faith, then divided by the number of our ethnic race. Let me mention what I've been thinking, how to save the children when the ship is sinking. So I'm singing, no lip syncing, slogans, political hooligans with tank missiles and guns. Everything is relative when it's all in the family. Oh man, understand the time has finally come to realize the great power of one. All formulas equalize under the sun. Amen.
And just having the turntablism at this point is a great switch up.
Yeah, the rhymes will heal cause I believe in music. In times of need I won't believe in music. The beat plus the melody, the recipe. Your vibe truly brings out the best in me. The rhymes will heal cause I believe in music. In times of need I won't believe in music. The beat plus the melody, the recipe.
I mean, like, they're such a fantastic storyteller as well. They're so articulate. It's just the icing on the cake, isn't it? Don't know what that buzzy part is. Oh, it's a saxophone.
In times of need, I won't believe in you sick. The beat plus the melody, the recipe. Your vibe truly brings out the best in me. The rhymes will heal cause I believe in music. In times of need, I won't believe in you sick. The beat plus the melody, the recipe. Hip hop worldwide, we got to live in peace like that.
It was wonderful. So thank you to Dinahay of Blue Dinner Box for their request for this track from an act named Jabez titled Lovesick Part 2. Now, what do I think this track is about? I think that it's about someone who is looking at someone they adore or appreciate. They're looking into how they met and everything like that, and they're like maybe being a bit nostalgic for it. But they also want to continue to maintain that connection with someone. They're saying that they're musical themselves, that they are going to like help the other person to avoid that love sickness there. They want to work towards a world with peace and stuff like that. They want to sort of like, their world's been changed by this other person. And it's quite a positive, kind of endearing track, predominantly, I think, because of the instrumental performance. Like the way that we rap and the sort of tone of it is very similar throughout a lot of the pieces that I've listened to from Ujabes, but I think that that's what kind of ties this hexology together. But then I think that it's also just the different chapter we've opened within this, again, with the brass parts, with the keys, the pads there, as well as, again, the traditional sort of like more sort of 90-ish kind of like the bass and like the hip-hop drums and stuff like that. With, again, that sort of lo-fi aesthetic. So the guy can clearly rap. Phenomenal storyteller there. I want to listen to it again in my own time so that I try and get everything back. But ultimately, I think that it was interesting to listen to, and the way that he rapped was clearly polished, experienced on the mic there. Flow came through neatly. There were different sort of rhyming phrasings and patterns and stuff like that. Sometimes would go with like the second and third of a 4-line stanza for the rhyme, and then would like go for like 2, 3, 4 of the next or something like that. We weren't afraid to sort of switch things up and be a little bit sort of like atypical, and I like the fact that we were ready to experiment with that, and it just the flow on top of it, and allowing just the theme, like with the occasional turntablism or sort of like kind of like cutting of things in like one break and the other, just appreciating again like the saxophone bits, even if they are sometimes in relatively minimalist, just being able to appreciate the accompaniment behind it was really cool. So I think that if we go past the vocals and the story that was told, I'll put the art up so it's nice and big and you guys can see it. I think that the actual song itself had this sort of one main sort of consistent beat, this drum beat that was continued throughout there, sort of a kind of a swingish kind of 16th note groove there. It's a lot of the music from Ujabes features similar kind of drum beats and stuff like that, and it's that kind of like flow there. It's got such a great energy to it. It's not too sort of in your face and abrasive. It's got like it's cool sounding, but it doesn't pump you up too much. It allows you to sort of still kind of chill back and resonate, maybe because of the way it's been filtered or something like that. The bass line underneath there is all relatively subtle. It's not too strong or heavy. I think part of it is because if there's any rough edges, it might sort of like defeat what we're trying to sort of accomplish in those verse sections there with the tone of that, maybe thematically or whatever. But either way, I think that with the bass line following the chord progression through, wonderful sort of extensions in that progression there, intricate and delicate and emotionally complex to kind of maybe tackle what we're discussing within the verse sections and the lyrics. But either way, it's great. Like it's exploration of spirituality, like how God, like you met someone. What was the line there? What was it? It's like the devil in me saw the God in you. You epitomize the etymology of enthusiasm. Look it up. There lies the clouds that form the rain that came from the ocean that flowed from the river. Yeah, it's unbelievable. Yeah, it's just so cool. Like how we transition between different lines like that as well. Halfway, we're not afraid. We don't go da 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 da. I know like that's like not a thing that all rappers do, but you get it enough that it's great to have variety there. So. The theme itself, when you compare like the beautiful glow of the saxophones there, when some of the key parts there, they have a great warmth there, a softness, and the preparation for them and the showing of them that niches well with the bass and the drums. You have a piece there that ultimately lets you know that we're kind of still figuring and working stuff out there. We're wondering how to sort of like overcome maybe this love sickness or how to overcome the other person's love sickness. We're inviting the other person to come and to sort of spend time with us so that we can kind of enjoy it together. Ultimately, you know that the chord progressions as well. The structure of it was tight. You know, there's enough variation to keep things going there with the vocals being the main focal focus. and the studio production was tight there, commercial grade there. It wasn't over sterilized. It wasn't over polished there. There was a bit of filtering and a bit of kind of like a old sort of vinyl aesthetic to it, maybe like a bit of a mid-range resonance there. But either way, it was still exactly what we needed to for the genre and for the style, and it was very effective. So well done to Nujabes with this track, Love Sick Part 2. And thank you to Dinahe for your request for this track. It was awesome. It was good times. Yeah. So what have we got next? We have got... Oh, we've got a few. We've got Rufo. Rufo. For your request. There we are. And that'll be now. So we've still got 2 in the queue. And what would Rufo like review today? Because I think this is the second or the... This is the... No, this is the first one. This is the second one from Rufo today, so that's cool. So what do we have next? We have this song. And it is... here. Oh, what's this? What's this? Rufo, what have you brought in for us today? Rufo with 17. Let's go. Interesting sort of Mugus. Oh.
My school is in a country. Students wear trainers, read the same magazines. Now I'm 17. My school is getting tiresome. Teachers, they're so young, singling me out. Only like
Great transition. I was wondering if it was Sheena Ringo because I couldn't I had to just translate the name first. I think Sheena's vocals are very distinct, aren't they? Oh, that vocal fry is phenomenal. I mean, I like the movements for the guitar, bass, drums, and piano as well. Key change. Nice. Interesting chord to finish off with the extended chord, like the extensions there. So this was a song from an ex named Sheena Ringo, titled 17. Thank you to Rufo for your request. I'm going to have a quick look through this. I'm going to have a look through this. I'm 17 years old today. Congratulations to myself for having no friends. Every day I wonder if it's okay to be like this. I don't have much experience in life or love, environment, facial complex. I want to throw it all away. So apparently this is talking from the lyrics I read below about Sheena Ringo's struggle with being 17 and sort of finding identity for themselves, potentially like struggling with like the fact that they didn't have any friends or anything like that, just struggling to get through it. And I think that'll be something that a lot of people can relate to, you know, that feeling of loneliness of self-worth and stuff like that being dictated by what we think or are told is exactly what we need to sort of value. Where the absolute shame is just considering where Sheena Ringo is now, like that those struggles might have they overcome might have helped them get to where they are today, and I think that I'm really happy that they continued forward and that they you know, it's just sad to hear that they went through that. I think the crying out that we had later on in the track there, especially in that later chorus, there was that pure pain that they felt there, channeling that is very authentic there. Again, we started in our chest voice, rose up, we became sort of like raw and raucous, and then eventually with the piano accompaniment at the end, we kind of came down from that. You know, we were kind of sad again, and we were kind of wondering, you know, I'm 17 now, what do I do? I think that the vocal performance from Sheena Ringo was fantastic there, very on par for like what they're capable of and what they typically do with a lot of their music. But I think that they carry the torch for themselves really well. I mean, like clearly I'm aware they have a solo career. It's nice to hear. I didn't hear her voice that clearly in the mix though. It sounded like a lot of the guitar, bass, drums, and keys and stuff like that were kind of smothering them a little bit, almost like she was kind of crying out to be heard in amongst all that noise there. All that kind of sweetness that's supposed to potentially happen when you're in your teenage years being drowned out by the fact that you know, like that she's drowning in it. I think that's really heavy, you know. But I like a really incredible vocal performance that was further enhanced by the instrumental parts there, you know, where the piano accompaniment typically like with a balladesque kind of format there, working with sort of major minor chords there, occasional bluesy intonations like the later stages there, kind of showcasing maybe that they're in a bit of a darker spot there. The guitar parts as well, with some dissonance in some of those sort of like parts on the sides there, but ultimately sort of sticking with power chords there and maybe some open chords occasionally, some arpeggios, but mostly trying not to sort of overcomplicate things too much. The bass line's driving in the low end there, keeping things nice and strong with the root notes. The drum parts there was a lot of variety there. It was traditionally sort of like supportive of what Sheena Ringo's trying to do without trying to be sort of its own sort of lead there, which I kind of appreciate pocketing a bit. The strings there, they kind of flew upwards and kind of soared with her as she comes working stuff out, and further sort of enhanced the existing chord progressions in a way that made sense. And yeah, it was the bass line also, to be fair, kind of did explore a bit. There was some interesting sort of tails and riffs on the end of some of the melody or like bass lines that were kind of dope there with the transitions. But it was a stellar performance. The track there was loud. There was dynamic range, but it was meant to get kind of, I think, louder when things got a bit more chaotic. And in general, I think like the song itself did sound like someone who was trying to like enjoy things, but also was just kind of struggling with her own sort of self-worth and everything like that. I think it's an interesting juxtaposition there that is captured by the bluesy piano with her alone at the end. Ultimately, a satisfying performance, a track that makes sense with the way it was written and sung, with the story that's given there. And you know, the studio recording, mixing, and mastering, aside from it being kind of a tight mix near the end, I think that was done on purpose or deliberately. So inevitably, I think it was quite effective. Thank you to Rufo for putting forward one of their favorite songs, this track from an ex named Sheena Ringo titled 17. I enjoyed it as well. Cheers for that. I will be just a moment. I know I've needed to go a couple of times during this live stream to do stuff. I promise that I'm not doing anything weird. I'll be right back in a moment, okay? Be right back. There we go. Go, make myself small. Awesome. Okay, I am back. We have one more track, I assume, today. One more track for Freyric after Rufo's most recent one. And what song shall we have from Freyric? We have... thanks for your request. Here. Oh, cool, cool, cool. Oh, so I think this might be an original, so that's kind of dope. So that's nice to have. Go, let's do it. And this is here. So yeah, this is Skrillex mixed with some Weekend based on Scorpio Moonstar sign reversed of Cups Demo released next November. Let's go, let's do it. This is Lord Frederick Russell 2, so that's cool. So let's get into it. Thank you, Freyric, for your request. It's quite psychedelic, isn't it? So I'm kind of assuming this is sort of through composed, right? It's like a through composed piece, and we're kind of letting it build over time. Well, the sound design's kind of trippy with the vocals and the sides and stuff like that. So this is an original from an act named what I understand to be Lord Frederick Russell II, titled Ivy Faux Spuck by Freyrick, solo artist and producer. So this is Freyrick, as I understand it, formerly Inside. So I think it's kind of supposed to be like avant-garde or something like that. Give you the choice I never had. Because I think there are some reverse takes in it. Reversed 4 of Cups demo released. This feels like a tro. So that was Ivy Faux Spuck by Freyrick, solo artist and producer. What do I think this is about? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. It was... I'll give you the choice I never had. So is this track about someone trying to reach out to someone, you're giving them their best, the opportunities you never had, you're trying to sort of connect with each other. Maybe it's about getting together or something like that. I'm not quite sure. I honestly, like, there was so much going on within this track that my brain kind of glazed over a little bit. And I mean that not in a derogatory way. It's literally that for me as a music reviewer, I was trying to cling on to something. And I think that if the aesthetic we're wanting, the style is this, it's okay. It's okay. It's cool. Like, again, I want to say, first of all, that if we're specifically going for the style of music where it is avant-garde and we are trying to sort of create like a soundscape rather than sort of specifically a song which follows a story and we're moving forward like that and kind of sort of feeling it out, that's it's based on the astrology sign. That's cool. So it's very different to a lot of the stuff that I reviewed. It's quite different to potentially a lot of the stuff that people are familiar with on this channel. But I think nonetheless, if that was the intent you were going for, it's cool. I think that the music had a similar sort of like aesthetic, like way of sounding throughout it, with lots of different synth and bass and drum patterns and stuff like that. There were some reverse takes in there that I could hear as well. There were some interesting pad movements. The vocal effects were quite intense there. There were lots of like oscillations and reverbs and delays and stuff like that, which kind of permeated throughout there. It almost sounded like it was a dream sequence because you had different things panned in different sequences inside alike, and it was quite full on for a lot of it. Music of the Night and Past, No Return, Phantom of the Opera. That's cool. Again, so I think that like the song itself, what we're trying to accomplish here, if we're wanting this sound, we've nailed it. I think that it was the length of it was good. It might have been good to have had more of sort of like a bell curve. In case did we have a bell curve at the start? Did it come? Yeah, so it kind of came in strong, and I understand for like a lot of singles nowadays, you kind of need to come in a bit sort of stronger to catch the attention of the listener and stuff like that. I think that if there's an audience for this kind of music and you've got fans who are appreciating it, I think we should continue it. It's just, I feel like if there was more of a defined kind of focus on one specific kind of movement, like whether lyrically, or if there were moments where things came down a little bit and then went back up or something like that, I think it would have been more enjoyable for me personally. But I've listened to stuff where it's very, very intense the whole entire time. And I kind of respect the fact that we're being this kind of brave with what we're putting out. And I welcome you to continue with your music. I think there's nothing like musically incorrect about it. It's just like that. It's quite a lot. And I think I need to listen to it a few times to get the intricacies there. The mix was quite tight. The commercial production, again, a stylistically thing, it's fine. Those are my thoughts on it. I would just need more time of it to really appreciate it. But thank you to Freyrick for putting your track forward. Hopefully you enjoyed it. There might not be anyone there now. I'm not sure. It's okay. I'm just gonna go live. It's to be fair. Yeah. So we're going back here. Yeah, it's okay. We've got what other tracks have we got though after Freyrick's? Because we've done that. That was good. We have got Shula said I'm laughing so hard the ghost outside laughed to play my track. So like if you want a track played, just in case you haven't placed a request through, you have to go through Ko-fi for that. Links in the description for that. And with that said, I think I have time for about 3 more requests before we have to finish for today. So I'm just going to confirm who we got. Okay. I'm going to do one more song. This is from RC, by the way. So this next one is from RC. This is, what do we got? RC. And this is RC. Your request. Yeah, it's so how do I say this? I myself am quite open to a lot of different styles of music, and potentially because of my job as a reviewer and also just because of how I grew up with music, I might be a little bit more kind of like just desensitized to a lot of the kind of really like a lot of different types of genres that other people who maybe are sort of more like comfortable. Like either way, it's fine. It's just I find that sometimes I will listen to a track and be like, oh, that's okay. I can understand and analyze it, and I can kind of like I'm okay with it. But I completely understand if there are some people that are not as used to it and they're just like, I don't know what to make of this. You know, it's just creativity, man. It's just everybody trying to sort of play their truth. We got Lao Lang from RC, so we're gonna listen through that. That's cool. Let's go. Let's do it. He's got like an old-timey kind of like sweetness to his voice there. He reminds me a lot of like singers in like the early like 20th century and stuff like that. It works well as like a consistent sort of texture to a lot of the guitar, bass, drum, harmonica, and other elements. Quite a heavy piece for a beautiful song though. Thank you to RC for that recommendation of this track from an act named Lao Lang. Titled, what is this titled? Old Wolf, Sorrow. I'm assuming that it's potentially Sorrow. Is that it? Totally different vibe. That's cool. How are the Ko-fi notifications looking at the moment? Yeah, okay. So, sup, shredders? I'm closing submissions for today. RC, Rufo, and Alvin's tracks will be the last to be played. Thanks. All right, so we're closing the closing commissions now, so that we can not get overflowed with commissions. That's good. So we've got RC's one to talk to. The lyrics, a toast to the rising sun, a toast to the moonlight, for awakening my longings and warming the frozen window. I've got like lyrics on the side here. So I can soar against the windows without looking back, without the fear of my soul, of my heart, or the frost under my eyes. The lyrics are quite a lot to take in a short time frame, but I think that a toast to freedom, a toast to death, for pardoning my ordinariness and erasing my turmoil. Okay, it's always a mist to leave as dawn breaks, the sober always the most absurd. So it's about like a toast to celebrating life, looking at his body both young and old, like the past he's had and the future he has going forward, and kind of like the journey he's taken, and like the growth he's had and his travel and everything like that. This is just kind of a song about him looking over his life. Is that the kind of impression I get from this? Because I think that's kind of cool, though, if that's the case, if that's what the song is about. I think the way the guy sung it was very sort of authentic and thoughtful there. He was clearly, very, very comfortable with the way that he was on stage there, had phenomenal stage presence there. Well, phenomenal is a bit, I don't know if that's the correct word for it. I think he had strong stage presence there. He looked sad as he was singing there. He looked kind of very kind of thoughtful as he was moving forward. And I think ultimately it was a satisfying track to listen through, predominantly because his voice was so like timeless there, the texture in that chest voice. He didn't really kind of hyperbolize himself on stage. He was a performer that knew what he wanted to accomplish there, sung in a way where the other instruments around him could kind of elevate if they needed to sort of come up to him or go beyond there or whatever, and was happy to trade off with the harmonicas and stuff, other parts from that when they needed to. So great singer, great vocal technique. I remember he was one of the first rock band lead singers in China's around 80s and 90s. Smashed it. Yeah. He's still got his voice, man. He's still doing very well. The track itself, a mixture of keys, guitar, bass, and drums with the harmonica, as well as like an alternate lead in some of the breaks, was great. I think it was sequenced really neatly. You had all the instruments like introduced relatively early on, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Like the strings playing arpeggios and kind of doing picked parts there, moving into chords in the chorus sections there. I mean, I don't think, if I'm not mistaken, we didn't have any sort of like prominent lead parts on the guitars there. I think that was traditionally done by the harmonica, to be honest. The harmonica have a lot of blues intonations, a great sort of phrasing rhythmically as well as like melodically, to kind of like go along with everything that was present with the existing guitar riffs there. And interesting sort of extensions like the harmonies there, kind of insinuating that we weren't entirely sure about what to think about the situation. We were kind of doing a toast, but we weren't sure what's going to come next there. There was a minor focus to a lot of it, which kind of told me that we weren't necessarily feeling like totally okay with things, or that there was a sense of sadness or sorrow in our hearts there. We were kind of doing a toast just because we knew we had to go towards the rising sun regardless. It kind of made me wonder whether we didn't want the sun to rise at all because the sober were the most absurd. Maybe it was better to be sort of drunk than sober. I'm not sure. We're drinking away our sorrows, but the guitars emulated that kind of rocky, kind of bluesy kind of sadness there, with the harmonica being the icing on the cake there, the bass there working well with the root notes, the chord progressions being supported there on the low end. The drums as well, a slower kind of tempo there, moving us forward at a steady pace there, not too quick, not too sort of like overzealous there. It simply invited us to be a part of it. There were dynamic points, there was dynamic range to the pace. It wasn't the same loudness the entire time. But I mean, either way, I think there was a really tight, performance instrumentally. Everyone involved, they knew exactly how they needed to cope and respond there. They played their parts well. The overall theme there, as I mentioned, was one of sort of relative sadness there. Even if there were some changes with like the keys or like the corporations or whatever, it never really kind of rose above that. The brightest thing in the mix arguably was what was going on with the harmonica, and I think the piano parts as well. They kind of just sort of further kind of registered with the triads and extensions, the arpeggiating and sort of doing prominent notes was kind of reinforcing the bass with the left. The studio recording, mixing, and mastering was tight. Commercial grade live performance there. Vocals weren't overproduced. The guy could just sing, and very satisfying to listen to. So thank you to RC for that recommendation there for this track from an act named unpinned message from an act named Lao Lang. I think this song was titled Sorrow. So let us continue. That was RC's track. We have two more to go in the queue, if I'm not mistaken. What do we have next? We have a track from Rufo. Yes, and what has Rufo got for us today? Thank you, by the way, for everyone's requests so far. By the way, someone, I think RC asked about Chinese subtitles. It really does depend on how accurate this software is that I'm going to be using. It's going to be better than Google translating mid-song and during conclusion sections though, because it actually analyzes the specific my own microphone as opposed to the entire piece. So what's going to be good about it is that you're not going to get like necessarily the song lyrics kind of intermingled with it as well. It'll just be, I mean, I don't know how that would work. It may be good to do both, but I'm not sure. But either way, you could either have like the auto ones or you could have the ones put forward by me. Maybe, I don't know. Either way, we're gonna figure out the caption stuff. And I suppose if we were to get the transcript and it was accurate, I could probably do Chat GPT or something like that. I'm not sure. Either way, or if someone's interested in transcribing a video they particularly like, we could supply the transcript and they could go from there. But we will see. We will see. We have Rufo before then anyways. I assume this is potentially from... This is from David Tao, right? This track here. So let's go. Oh, I like this one. This is cool. It's a really pretty song. Some David Tao. So just to confirm, this is David Tao, titled That Girl. Thank you, Rufo. Ooh, some neo soul vibes. I like how they come together like that. That's smart. Oh man, gorgeous Beltry moving into this though. Is there more than one singer in this? There's slightly different vocal textures. Am I tripping? Is there more than one? Or is it just a different vocal style? Because they sound like different vocal timers. The barbershop actions. The barbershop accents are nice as well. It is. I totally called it as Crowd Lou. Thank you. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. I was losing my mind. I was like, who is that, right? Thank you very much. That was tremendous, man. Really well done. No, that was really well handled. I enjoyed it. Thank you to, I believe that was Rufo. Thank you to Rufo for this track from an act named David Tao and Crowd Lou, as Rufo I feel is mentioned, titled That Girl. Now, what do I think this track is about? I mean, I can only assume it'd be about that girl. It's like a girl that maybe they're both talking about. Maybe they both like the same girl or something. I'm not quite sure. That'd be a fun sort of dynamic to have. They're kind of talking about their views on the girl between. There's call and responses between both singers. And I think it handled really well. And ultimately they come together as maybe in conclusion or like an agreement about the situation a bit later on. But ultimately it's a really cool track. I enjoyed listening to it. Great tone to the singers. Both David Tao and Crowd Lou can sing. They have different textures and timbres. And that's why I was kind of thinking, who is the other person? But again, thank you. Thankfully, I've been informed of that. I thought they both sung really well. I thought neither overshadowed one another. You could tell they were different. They sounded great whether they're on their own, sort of doing their own thing, having their own verse, potentially having their own sort of half of the stereo field, or coming together. And the chorus harmonies, they're both very comfortable in head, chest, voice, as well as in some of the falsetto parts there. The vibratos are flawless there. And they navigated the quite complex chord progressions in this track as well, with the kind of neo soul kind of boom, 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 kind of moving to like the major, parallel major in that sort of third chord that was kind of dope. And it was a really cool song. They both smashed the performances there. Very fragrant, refreshing, and I feel better after listening to it. I feel like if you understood the story, it'd have just a little bit more of a kind of like a impact, but like that's not even worth mentioning. Of course, it's going to have more of an impact if you can understand the story, but I nonetheless appreciated listening to it regardless. I did not need to know the words to be able to enjoy it. So that's cool. The track at 4 minutes 27, I think it was well spaced out with stuff. It was vocal focused for the vast majority of it. You had instrumental breaks there where there were a wide variety of different instruments there. There were definitely guitars there. There were basses and drums and keys. And if I just go to a part of it, like an organ or something like that. And like beltry transitions and stuff like that, but the predominant focus was on the vocals. So if I talk about a few of the instruments I liked within this, with the understanding that the structure was one of those kind of build them up over time, kind of almost balladesque kind of things without the piano focus. There was more of an electric keyboard kind of focus there on some parts. The guitars were incredible. Good. I'm glad I caught that. That was fantastic. Thank you for confirming that that's what it's about. I appreciate that. I think that the guitar parts, with the way they were picked there and some slides and some fancy stuff, I'm assuming potentially David Tao played that, if not Crowd Lou. I know David Tao does play guitar quite well. The slides and that kind of bit of personality to those guitar lines just gave this track more of an edge, and it was kind of sweet and kind of slick sounding and add a bit of kind of spice and zazz to it. Those jazzy infusions there, the kind of flamenco kind of fingerstyle stuff as well. It was neat. There was a freshness to the performance on the guitar as well. Great tone to them. Interesting use of extended harmonies. There's some sevenths and maybe even some parallel majors and minors I mentioned there. Then some of the chord progressions there, definitely parallel majors there to kind of let us know that even though there's a bit of tension, things are going to work out in the end. I thought the bass line with the smoothness of that electric bass there, it was thick and full, and again, nicely niched underneath the lack of low end with the guitars being in the mid-high range there. The drums were relatively subtle and kind of like constrained. They weren't trying to be too over the top there. Very comfortable with the eighth note patterns there. Some occasional 16th fills or transitions, but not too much. It was more about the vocals being the focal point. And we were just trying to sort of like be sort of pocket and keep pace. The keys that we had there, I think they did kind of go between some of the guitar parts there, and I didn't just sit there playing the chords the entire time, but they also weren't too over the top either. We had some glissando parts, I think, were wow parts, if I'm not mistaken. I could be sort of like imagining that. But it's just that these tracks, kind of with the Khalil Fong we tried earlier in the live stream, it wasn't that we were trying to have a specific journey with a lot of these instruments separately. It's like they had a concept they needed to perform a set amount of times in order to continue the overall sort of loop being quite sort of satisfying. Because I think that if we had, hang on. Oh no, I was tripping for a moment because I was thinking, did I actually listen through the song the whole way? I did, which was good. The keys there and that mid range there, they weren't too bright. They had that kind of R&B-ish kind of organ kind of filter sort of tone there, where they were very kind of humble and sort of cozy sounding there. And then of course you had bell trees for like the standard kind of like transition between movements there. There were probably some synth pads as well in there that I missed there. Maybe some other sort of sub layers as well that I missed, but those are the main ones I got, the main contenders. And ultimately the theme overall kind of sounded like someone sort of like fashionably figuring out whether or who was not going to get the girl in the end there. There was a brightness with a lot of the major sort of influences there. Things never got too dark. There was a bit of kind of banter potentially, but ultimately it's meant to sort of end in a way that was both romantic and satisfying, and I appreciate the chemistry between the two singers on board. They dominated the mix in a way that was not sort of like patronizing to the accompaniment behind them. They niched well with that, harmonizing that well, especially with a lot of the complex vocal harmonies there. They were not easy ones to sing there. Some of the barbershopish kind of stuff were kind of dope as well, like the no, not that specifically, but how they kind of went on the sides of the stereo field and explored that. Great work with the overall theme. The studio recording, mixing, and mastering was fantastic. I liked the sound production of the vocals in the various parts of the stereo field there. I thought that was particularly tight. There was dynamic range to this as well, which I really appreciated. It wasn't too loud all the time. There was variety there in regards to the perceived loudness, and it was still nice and loud. Was showing, and they could both sing really well, so they didn't need to be overproduced. But well done. Thank you to Rufo for that track from an ex-named David Tao as well as Crowd Lou, titled That Girl. So that was awesome. I think we've got one more track to go, though, before I go and have a nap. I'm going to have a nap after this because I'm getting older and I need naps. What's the last one for today? It's from Alvin K. Thank you to Alvin for your request. Hopefully you've had a good day so far, Alvin, as well as everyone else. I don't remember saying hello to you immediately when you came in. We were exploring a few of the additional tracks earlier. Yeah, there we go. So this is Susumu Hirasawa titled Dreaming Machine. And this is Alvin. Come on, buddy. Here we go. And I think I've listened to this one before, but I could be wrong. We're going to listen to it, clearly anyways. But I'm excited because I like Alvin. I like picks where I don't recognize the band. It's always going to be kind of exciting because you don't know what you're getting yourself into. Actually, no, to be fair, I should be clear. I have listened to Hirasawa Susumu, Dreaming Machine, though. I like when I don't know what to expect. There we go. I mean...
モンゴルからスカラープールへナイルの先により敵対党を探知する技師を訪ねよう。4Uサイズのアタッシュケースを上空に向けグレートブラボーボックスのアースを取って構える。コマンド1として月の運行に手拍子で参加。
You know what this kind of reminds me of? That Shia LaBeouf song. Clearly, they're still quite different tracks, but the way it's done kind of reminds me of that song.
飛んでいこう。続出するバグは助手のトラウマが原因であり、激励こそ最良のメンテナンスである。グレートブラボーボックスの拡張スロットにアモールバッファを差し込む。コマンド2として心をイオマンテの矢尻に置く。囚われの娘よ、私を訪ねたまえ。
I've just realized that I haven't had the SP logo the entire time, have I? It's just been like empty there, right? Oh, dude, he can play. No, it's because he just puts it down again afterwards. It's so short. It's such a classy solo section. He's an incredible composer, isn't he? He knows exactly how much to have.
最終コマンドとして導線コイルのトーテムに一礼する。苦難の助手を私に続きたまえ。
That was awesome, dude. That was good fun. I like that. That was Alvin K's request for today. Thank you to Alvin for putting this through. This is from an actor named Hirasawa Susumu, titled Dreaming Machine, from the Tokyo Ijigen Kudo Live. I'm blown away by this. Apparently, the guest performers are his friends Rang and Ning, who perform at the Simon Cabaret in Thailand. I think that I know what this track is about. Those little sparky things, those are kind of like the neurons firing up in your brain, and then there's like a new dream, and there's like down, and then there's like a prompt where they talk about what's going to happen in the next dream, and then there's and there's like a big chorus, and then they continue like that. I think that's it. It was an adventure we went on with this track. It was such a phenomenal use of 3 minutes 49. I think that the spoken components, like the narration, combined with like the phenomenal sort of like crowd vocals, the huge sound to the bum 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 bum, the bombastic kind of big marching band kind of sort of style that we're going through with those chorus parts there, with the vocoder as well. Before that, there was just so much range in regards to that. It was so much fun. I don't speak Japanese nearly well enough to be able to sort of like, there was like camera snapshot or something like that he said at some point, which I can put that together. And thank you, Alvin. I appreciate knowing that was a good deduction. It's wonderful. Like, we didn't need to sing really elaborately or immaculately to be able to get this across the line. It was more about the purpose and the way we did it for the spectacle, I suppose, more than anything. But that was really well handled, I think. So the vocals were great. We had like lots of stuff going on with like the kind of interesting sort of like classical guitar fingerpick stuff with like the bzz, bzz, bzz kind of like literal electric synthy parts there with a real buzz kind of to them, but a bit of sort of triangle bzz kind of going on there, or square waves. And we move on from that to like some, oh, dude, this is so much to take in. There's just so much to take in. Like those marching bands and everything like that, huge brass parts there, massive kind of pads, like bam, bam, bam. And then we go to here. And there's like a sort of like a house beat or something like that with some strings kind of fluctuating in the background there with an incredible amount of drama. And there's also like a piano going dun 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 on the sides there, kind of adding a sense of urgency to it with the way it pulls forward with those power chords. And a glorious string line. And woodwinds? And it's just like immaculate storytelling though. Like it's almost like we're trying to combine acoustic elements, like a big band this big, with like electronic house music, with all sorts of fun things. And then solo section in the midpoint, which is just a repetition of the main motif, but done on a guitar, and everyone loves it because he's a great guitarist. And you have the da-da-da-da-da-da-da with like the synth part, the melody sort of like imitating what the guitar was doing, which is just a great way to sort of trade off back into the electronic sections. And then and just everyone is so committed to the bit. You got the sort of the huge choir behind them though, everyone dancing with their helmets and stuff like that. It's just this chord note accent the whole entire time. The drums, the orchestral elements combined with the synthetic sort of like my brain's broken. I had a great time with it though. I think that this was a through composed piece with to be fair some chorus parts that we returned to. That was one of the most creative pieces of music I've ever listened to in my entire life there. And I admire the way that we transitioned back out of those acoustic parts to a dynamic range to it wasn't the same loudness all the time. We played all the instruments well that we had there well. It was effortless for the main composer and vocalist to go between those and kind of do what they needed to do to sort of elevate stuff and to move away through the journey. And I had fun. Most importantly, it was fun. Studio recording, mixing, mastering was tight, commercial grade, phenomenal live performance, both audio and visually. There would have been a hell of a time to be there, and it would have been a lot of fun. And I kind of wish I'd gone to it. But thank you to Alvin K for putting this track forward there. It's more about the spectacle and the experience you have with this track more than trying to sort of attain a specific thing from it. It kind of does sound like a movie soundtrack, and if it's not, fine either way. But that is the cue to zero. It is the cue to zero now. So I am going to have... It is good to have fun. It is the end of this live stream, though. Thank you to Alvin K for that track from Hirasawa Susumu titled Dreaming Machine. It was a fantastic way to end it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the music we had today. Hopefully you guys heard a new band you might like. Thank you to those of you who put through requests. I appreciate it. We're going to have another one of these in 2 days' time. Again, a gentle reminder that, this didn't get blocked, so it'll be up on YouTube, hopefully. If it isn't, then we'll know why. We'll just sort the Patreon stuff. I'm getting DaVinci Studio next week, so we should be able to figure out what's going on with captions and software next week. But I'll update you for that. Hopefully you guys have a great day. See you later. Remember, if you're an SB patron, you can put through your requests now. I can get that sorted for you. And yeah, Spiderhands out.